Now, there is a fundamental issue with, say, Bitcoin in its current form, in that the transaction volume is very limited, and the latency, the latency for a properly confirmed transaction is too long, much longer than you'd like. So it's actually not great from a transaction volume standpoint or a latency standpoint. So it is perhaps useful as to solve an aspect of the money database problem, which is this sort of store of wealth or an accounting of relative obligations, I suppose. But it is not useful as a currency, as a day-to-day currency. Part of the reason why I think there's some merit to Dogecoin, even though it was obviously created as a joke, is that it actually does have a much higher transaction volume capability than Bitcoin, and the cost of doing a transaction, the Dogecoin fee is very low. Like right now, if you want to do a Bitcoin transaction, the price of doing that transaction is very high, so you could not use it effectively for most things, and nor could it even scale to a high volume. And when Bitcoin was started, I guess around 2008 or something like that, the internet connections were much worse than they are today, like order of magnitude. They're way worse, in 2008. So like having a small block size or whatever is, and a long synchronization time made sense in 2008. But to 2021, or fast forward 10 years, it's like comically low. And I think there's some value to having a linear increase in the amount of currency that is generated. Because some amount of the currency, if a currency is too deflationary, or should say, if a currency is expected to increase in value over time, there's reluctance to spend it, because you're like, I'll just hold it and not spend it because its scarcity is increasing with time. So if I spend it now, then I will regret spending it. So I will just, hodl it. But if there's some dilution of the currency occurring over time, that's more of an incentive to use it as a currency. So Dogecoin, just somewhat randomly, has a fixed number of sort of coins or hash strings that are generated every year. So there's some inflation, but it's not a percentage base. It's a fixed number. So the percentage of inflation will necessarily decline over time. I'm not saying that it's like the ideal system for a currency, but I think it actually is just fundamentally better than anything else I've seen, just by accident.
Do you think Bitcoin will be disruptive in that way? Now it's a speculative currency. Will it be something that will be what normal consumers will use and will disrupt the banking industry?
My opinion of Bitcoin is that, I think Bitcoin is probably a good thing, but it's essentially, its main thing will be, this will probably get quoted here and there, but I think it's primarily going to be a means of doing illegal transactions. But that's not necessarily entirely bad. It's not, some things shouldn't be illegal. But
the combination of Silk Road and Bitcoin will save us?
Well, it will be useful for legal and illegal transactions. Otherwise, it would have no value as a use for legal transactions, because you have to have a legal to illegal bridge